Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to the broadcast. My name is Dr. Kesha. And listen, we're going to begin a new series entitled Let the Healing Begin. Let the healing begin. The journey to healing. We're going to focus on mental health, different aspects of mental health. We're going to talk about attachment styles, avoidant men and women. We're just going to talk about the things that I believe that are important for this day and age that we are in, especially in the dating world. You see a lot of things happening. You see patterns, you see cycles, and you begin to, if you're me, you begin to make connections, right? Trying to figure out, like, I'm a problem solver. I want to find solutions, right, to problems. It's one thing to complain, oh, ain't no good men out there, ain't no good women out there. So what can we do to fix the problem, right? We've identified the problem. The pool is muddied, it's limited. How can we fix the problem? Can we work with what's out there? You know what I mean? Can we do our own inner work so that we can become better version of ourselves and be better partners or attract better partners? Like, what can we do? Let's be proactive. So I really do feel like this particular channel and this particular, I'm going to say, playlist that we're going to create will be focusing on healing, right? And just aspects and ways by which we can do our self work. Because not everybody can afford a therapist, not everybody can afford a coach. So, this would be the freebies, right? The freebies that can help you along the way. And I really do feel like the information that will be shared, especially connecting to you to other to other parts of psychotherapy and psychiatric therapy and medicines and theories and the nuances. I think it will be helpful, because the truth of the matter is that not many folks are going to have access to that information or access to that type of coaching or counseling. You're just not going to have access to that. And then some may be reluctant, right? You may be reluctant to get the help and support because you don't know exactly, you don't know what's going to happen in those sessions. You don't know what to expect. And so I think that what we're going to present may be helpful in that regard. Take away the mysticism, make it easier to digest, make it palatable, and may encourage you to move forward and to get the support and help that you need if you fall under the categories that we're going to be focusing on today. So I wanted to begin and do our intro to this. I wanted to begin with an assessment, right, that I'm going to complete, and you're going to watch me. And I'm going to be sure to put the link in the description so you yourself can complete this assessment. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to be the guinea pig. And you're going to see my results and everything. We're going to just keep it a buck. We can just go keep it a buck, right? We're going to keep it real. We're going to keep it funky and all the things. All right. We're going to keep it 1,000. All right. So let me go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to take an assessment. This particular assessment is, again, identifying your attachment styles. All right. This is by Adam Lane Smith. Shout out to him. He's really great in the field of dealing with avoidant men specifically. And he does offer a lot of cool things that will be helpful to women. And so we'll go into that in just a few moments. But let's begin with me. I'm the guinea pig. All right. I'm going to complete this attachment style quiz. And so you can just look along and and I'm exposing myself. Woo, this is vulnerable. No, I don't mind. Anybody that knows me knows. I mean, you really know me and spend time around me. No, I don't mind being vulnerable. I don't mind getting down to the heart of the matter. As a matter of fact, I cannot help myself. It's just hard for me to stay on the surface. I got to dive deep. That's just my natural inclination. I cannot help it. But guess what? The men that like it, they love it, child. They love it because I dive deep. I want to get in your brain. I want to get in your skin. I want to get in your heart. I want to know what's going on. I want to know what makes you tick. I want to know why you are the way that you are. I want to know what you love and why you love what you love. I want to know what you hate and why you hate what you hate. I want to know what makes you tick. I want to know, right? And again, there's a way of doing it without being too intrusive. And I've just about mastered it. It's not 1000% mastered, but I've just about mastered it because you have to balance it out, right? You got to balance it out with a little bit of femininity too, because it can be off-putting and a little bit aggressive in some uh, minds of some men. It can become a little bit aggressive and intrusive, but when you know how to do it in a way that is feminine, and you're authentic in your approach, and you're honestly, curious, I think that many people will be open, especially if they're interested in learning you. All right, in learning you. All right, so let's begin with me. All right, so let's read the instructions. It says, I'm so glad you're here because this is the first step towards building stronger, healthier relationships. As you go through the quiz, be honest as possible. Anytime you're taking an assessment, you need to be honest. Okay? Don't lie. Tell the truth. Well, like what, it's listen, tell the truth. This is a judgment free zone, and there are no right and wrong answers, just the truth about where you are right now, right? And then again, there's some privacy things that they want you to know. You're going to agree to it. We're going to say yes. I'm going to click start. Now, I don't know what questions are going to be asked, so hopefully they're not too private, but I am definitely going to be honest. And if it's too private, then I'll read the question and may not may hide my response just to come on, y'all. Listen, I'm trying to be an open book, but good grief, let me hide a little something. Let me keep something tucked away for the man that matters. Come on, somebody. I can't reveal all my secrets. Come on. All right, let's go. The first question: when I face challenges, I feel comfortable asking others for help. All right, let's go through the responses. I never ask for help even when I need it. I rarely ask for help unless I have no other choice. I sometimes ask for help but often hesitate. I often ask for help when I face challenges. I always feel comfortable seeking support when needed. Hmm. Wow. Okay. So we're facing challenges, feeling comfortable about asking others for help. My honest response. Sometimes I ask for help and I'm hesitant. It really depends on the who, though. You know what I'm saying? I think with this question specifically, like if it's my day one, right? My best friend, we've been best friends for over 30 years. I'm not gonna hesitate, I'm gonna feel comfortable asking her for help if I need it. But it depends on what the help is, though. Like if it's financial help, then I might be really reluctant in asking people, even the best of friends, even mom and my siblings. I might be hesitant asking, but if I need to ask, I will ask. If it's financial, it really depends on the type of help. Like it's really this. I'm just being honest. So that question and that question and question loaded, it really just opens up for more questions. But let's just try to answer it. I feel comfortable asking just help in general. Okay, let's just deal with help in general. I sometimes ask for help, but I'm hesitant. So let me just go with that. I trust people in my life genuinely that care for me. Okay, I always trust people that care about me. I often feel like others genuinely care. Wait, I often feel like others genuinely care about me. Okay, I often believe people care about me, but often doubt it. I rarely care for it, but it happens sometimes. Okay, I trust that people in my life genuinely care for me. I always trust that people care about me. I often feel like others genuinely care about me. I'll say often, because just because people are in your life doesn't necessarily mean that they care about everything that pertains to you. That's just my thoughts. I'm just being honest. I find it easy. Let me just make sure y'all know what I'm doing. Okay, cool. All right, let's go back to it. I find it easy to share my feelings in close relationships. I always feel comfortable sharing my feelings. I often find it easy to share my feelings. I sometimes share my feelings, but it's not easy. I want to say I often find it easy. I'm comfortable sharing my feelings, but it really depends, right, on the situation. So I find these insurance and close. Okay, so close relationships. Okay, but even in the close of relationships, right, there's a caveat there because you can offend the people that are closest to you. You know, you can hurt them too by sharing your feelings, right? Sometimes your truth can be hurtful. And then if you're a people pleaser, I'm a delivered people pleaser, then I can be a little bit reluctant, you know, in sharing my feelings, even though I should honor my feelings at all times. But I still may be a little hesitant simply because even if I'm sharing my feelings and my feelings matter, it still just might hurt them. So I'll say I often find it. So I'll say majority of the time it's not an issue, but there are those moments where it's like, okay. I feel confident that others will be there for me when I need them. Okay. I often feel assured that others will help me when needed. I sometimes feel confident that others will support me. I feel confident. I feel confident others will be there for me. Um, I would say sometimes because there were moments where they just weren't there. I have trusted friends I can confide in. Okay. I have trusted people I freely share with. I have trusted people I regularly confide in. I can do D. All right. I feel comfortable setting boundaries and asking for space when I need it. I often feel okay setting boundaries and asking for space. I always feel comfortable asking for space when needed. I actually do feel comfortable. I had to grow into that, but as of today, I absolutely feel comfortable. I sometimes worry about losing people I care about. Do I sometimes worry about that? No. I'm not, because I feel like if somebody's supposed to be there, they're gonna be there. That's just how I see it. And if it's not, then it is what it is. So let me respond. I never worry about people leaving me. I rarely worry about people leaving me. I sometimes worry about me. I'm often anxious. I always worry about people leaving me. I never worry about people leaving me. I rarely worry, but the thought occasionally crosses my mind. There's never a worry. I don't know. I sometimes feel unsure if I'm good enough for my relationships. I never doubt my worth in relationships. I don't. I'm just going to be honest. I hesitate to share my needs, worried about how they will be received. Now, that part, I rarely hold back, but sometimes I worry about it. I'm sometimes hesitant to share my needs. I rarely hold back, but I sometimes worry about it. I will give it that. Sometimes, you know, again, you don't want to be perceived to be needy. So, you know, especially when you're the strong one, you know what I mean? Sometimes the strong ones have the capes. And so we have a problem with kind of showing signs of weakness. And that could be perceived as a sign of weakness. I crave reassurance from others, even when things might be fine. I never feel the need for reassurance in my relationships. I rarely need reassurance except in rare moments. I sometimes need reassurance even when things are fine. I often feel reassurance even in good. I often need reassurance even in good times. I rarely need reassurance except in rare moments. I do need reassurance, but it's rare. I overanalyze others' tones and messages for hidden meanings. I never overthink others' tones and meanings. I rarely overanalyze, but sometimes have doubts. I sometimes wonder about hidden meanings in communication. Um, I often overanalyze what others say in text. I always try to find the hidden meanings in others' tones. I sometimes wonder about meanings in communication. I rarely overanalyze, but sometimes have doubts. Huh? Or is it questions? I would say, but have questions sometimes. I don't overanalyze. I would say sometimes I do have questions because some people move like that. You know what I mean? Some people have unfortunately they move like that. Like in real life, that's, they're not direct. They're passive aggressive and stuff like that. So you're trying to decode what it is that they're saying beneath the surface. Some people are like that, and then there are others. But in general, no, right? In general, but depending on who you're dealing with, that might be a thing. I doubt whether others truly love me or just tolerate me. I never doubt that people love me. I rarely doubt, but sometimes wonder. Not really, not the people in my life, because my circle is relatively small, and everybody that's in it have been vetted. So I know that they love me. When someone pulls away or needs space, I assume it's my fault. I never assume that I've done something wrong. I rarely feel this way, but sometimes wonder. Um, well, I mean, for somebody to assume that you've never done nothing wrong, I never, I mean, never. It's a possibility that you could have done something wrong. You know what I mean? So I don't like absolutes. I don't like nevers and evers. I don't. I rarely feel this way, but sometimes wonder. Sometimes I think their need for space is my fault. Because I often believe I cause them to pull away. I don't believe that, but there may be a moment where I may have some fault in that. I compare my relationship to others and feel like mine is lacking. I never compare my relationship to others. I rarely compare, though it sometimes crosses my mind. I don't compare my relationships. I don't compare myself to others, let alone relationships. Just being honest. But hey, your response may be different. So listen, I want to encourage you, do it along with me, you know, and or I'm going to provide the link in the description. You can do it yourself and see what you come up with. So maybe you can begin to think about some of these questions. So when it's your turn, you can answer openly and honestly. I replay arguments in my head, worrying if I said something wrong. Now that I will do. Like that I will do because I'm like, well, maybe I didn't say it, maybe I could have said it differently. So let's see what the responses are. I never replay. That whole never thing. That's my thing. Ugh. Never replay arguments. I let them go. I rarely replay arguments unless they were significant. Sometimes I reflect on arguments and question myself. I often replay arguments, worrying about what I said. I always replay arguments, feeling regret and doubt. I want to say I rarely replay arguments unless, I do replay arguments. I do, especially because I'm a fixer. You know what I mean? I'm always, even if it's trying to assess if I'm in the right space, and maybe I came across a certain type of way. So, I'll apologize with the quickness, but that requires, you know what I mean? Being in tune with yourself and being honest with yourself, and doing your self work. So, but hey, maybe that's a negative impression. Who's to say how they're going to code this? So, I feel mentally drained from obsessing over whether my relationships will last. I never obsessed about whether my relationship will last. I don't think I've obsessed over whether a relationship will last or not. I rarely feel mentally drained. It happens sometimes over whether a relationship will last. I sometimes feel drained about these thoughts. Never assess about my relationships will last. I rarely mentally drain, but it happens sometimes. Um, I mean, sometimes you're in relationships where you really don't know exactly like what the longevity of that relationship. You would like for it to lead to marriage or to forever, but I mean, but obsession, no. I would say I'm not going to drain myself, but you're going to be concerned if you really care. That's how I see. Especially if you're not 100% clear on what direction is going in. And some of us that are not married, but we've been in dating situations. I'm sure that we were kind of like thinking, I wonder, if this is the right person. And if not, then, I wonder how long it's going to take for that to be revealed if that person isn't my person. So when my partner or loved ones are unavailable, I feel insecure. I rarely feel insecure unless there's an unusual circumstance. True. I really don't, but I don't feel insecure if they're not available. If they're not available, they're not available. I feel afraid that others might leave me unexpectedly. I never worry about others leaving me unexpectedly. I don't. I don't. Um, I compare how much I give in relationships to how much I receive. Now I'm guilty. I'm constantly looking at that dynamic. Reciprocation is so huge for me because I give a lot in relationships, whether they're platonic or romantic. I'm constantly like giving of myself. I'm constantly helping people, period. You know what I mean? So I'm not even gonna hold you. I don't compare, but I definitely be looking to, I'm observing. You know what I mean? I'm trying to make sure that I try not to keep score, but I definitely am cognizant of the fact that, that my needs are being met. You know what I'm saying? And if not, then, I'm going to say something. I'm going to address it. Because I think people should assert themselves and not be passive or passive aggressive about, oh, I'm ignoring, I'm not going to say, I'm not going to, but no, it bothers you, but you choose not to say anything. And then it builds up. And then before you know it, you're either passive aggressive or you're outright aggressive. Nah, let's just be assertive and say, hey, listen, I've noticed that, I'm not keeping score, but I can't help but to notice because my needs are not being met. So, I'm feeling like it's not being reciprocated. We don't have to do a tit for tat, but where are you? You know what I'm saying? And emotionally, mentally, are you interested in this? Staying in this, remaining in this relationship? What's going on? Like, I think you have every right to engage in a healthy conversation about your needs, and not to say you're holding them accountable, but you definitely have a right to ask questions and just to explore the why. Because it could be something that might be in the way, some workload increased, stressors with family life increased, or some other issues that you may not be aware of that may be logical or make logical sense as to why they're not given as much or whatever the case may. It could be. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt, but let's answer the question. I compare how much I give in relationships to how much I receive. I never compare. That's a lie if I would say that. I rarely think about it, but occasionally that's incorrect either. Sometimes I feel like I give more than I get most of the time. Facts. I feel guilty asking for emotional support from others, even when I need it. Do I feel guilty? No. Rarely feel guilty, but sometimes hesitate. I feel guilty for asking for emotional support. I might hesitate because, again, I think that's that strong friend syndrome. You just, when my loved ones are upset, I assume it's my fault. Never. No, I don't automatically assume that it's my fault. Hold on. I often choose to spend alone time rather wait. I often choose to spend time alone rather than with others. I prefer to spend time by myself. I often choose alone time over being with others. Um, I choose to be alone, but it rarely happens. I rarely choose to be alone, but it happens sometimes. I sometimes prefer to spend time by myself. Sometimes that's a preference. I avoid conversations about emotional topics, even if they're important. I never avoid emotional topics. Sorry. I feel relieved when my partner isn't around, even if I care about them. I never feel relieved when my partner isn't around. I rarely feel this way. I would say that, but sometimes I appreciate the space. Now that part I can agree with. I avoid being vulnerable because I don't want to feel dependent on others. I never avoid vulnerability and feel comfortable being open. Yeah, that's me. I feel unsure of how to respond with someone else expressing emotional needs. I never feel unsure when responding to emotional needs. I rarely feel unsure, but sometimes hesitant. No, I never feel unsure about responding to no, never. Um, I wait. I think relying on others is a sign of weakness. I never see reliance on others as never. That's crazy. But I'm sorry. So you may feel that way. But for me, it just seems so not me. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean by that would be different if I started doing that because that's so not me. So, but if that's you, I respect it. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't move like that. I prioritize work, hobbies, and personal goals over spending time with loved ones. Never. I don't. I feel uncomfortable when my partner tries to get closer and show affection. I always feel no uncomfortable. My bad. I almost misread the question. I feel uncomfortable when my partner tries to get closer and show affection. I never feel uncomfortable when my partner shows affection. I love it. I'm a touchy-feely person. So it's just, I'm like, oh, give it to me, baby. Give me them hug, loves, and kisses. I feel overwhelmed with my partner. And then there are moments where I'm like, okay, break, it's too much. There's a balance, right? There's a balance. But overall, if it's somebody that I love, then I want to be close to them. I want to be next to them. Even if I'm working, I would we would almost sit almost on top of each other. I would want to be really close to them or feel close to them. Even if we were across the room, I still want to feel connected. Even if we're across states, if it's interstate, across state lines, I still want to feel connected. I'm the kind of person where I can feel connected to you, and you can literally be across on the other side of the world, but I can still feel some type of connection to the people that I care about. That's just what it is. I feel overwhelmed when my partner expresses their emotional needs. No, I never feel overwhelmed when my partner opens up. Nah. I want to withdraw when my partner tries to discuss the future. I never avoid discussing the future, not at all, because that's important. I work with the goal in mind. That's just how my brain is wired. So yes, let's talk about the future so that we can begin to plan with the goal in mind. But that's just me. So again, for you all that are different, you respond accordingly. I feel conflicted between wanting closeness and being uncomfortable with it. Never feel conflicted. Don't have any issues with being close, mentally, emotionally, not at all. I can act distant and uninterested even when I secretly want to be connected. I can act. I rarely act. Sometimes I act often to pull away despite our cravings. I always act distant and uninterested. I never act distant when I want. No, I don't send mixed messages. When my partner shows love, I feel suspicious of their intentions. I never feel suspicious. No. Unless they give me reasons to feel suspicious, right? Because there are times when you do have to question. Experience intense mood swings about how I feel towards my partner. Nope. I desire closeness with my partner, but push them away when they get too close. I never push them away. I feel afraid if I truly open up, others will hurt or abandon me. No, I'll express it even if I feel like, you know, they may not reciprocate or feel the same or whatever, even if they leave, walk away. I have to honor my feelings and express myself. When I get attention or affection, I feel overwhelmed and trapped. No, I feel uncertain about whether I want closeness or independence in my relationship. I feel unsure. I'm clear about what I want. I'm never unsure. Do I feel it? Nope. I'm never. Mm-mm. I feel like I can't predict how I'll react in my relationships. I feel like I can't predict. I always feel in control and inconsistent in my reactions. I rarely feel unpredictable, but it happens sometimes. I feel like I can't predict how I'll react in relationships. I'm not quite understanding the question fully, but I always feel in control and consistent in my reactions. I always feel in control and consistent. I rarely feel unpredictable, but it happens sometimes. I mean, because you just never know. Like you like for me especially, there were moments when like my love was tested, and through a conversation, it really began to manifest just how much I cared. I did not know the level of care that I felt at the shortest amount of time spent with this person, but I really cared. So I was caught off guard with how I was feeling. So it does happen, believe it or not, where things can creep up on you, and because you're not really cognizant of what's going on internally, and especially for a lot of extroverted people. Shout out to all the extroverts out there. I crave reassurance from others, even though I don't fully trust them. I never need reassurance and fully trust others. I rarely feel this way, but it happens occasionally. Okay, craving reassurance from others, even though I don't fully trust them. That's weird. But hey, you may feel that way. I'm trying to think like craving reassurance, but you don't trust. I wouldn't even seek reassurance on people that I don't trust, to be honest. I'm just gonna just keep it a buck. So I never need reassurance and fully trust others. I don't fully trust people either. Like I would never ask or want or desire reassurance from people that I don't trust. Nor do I fully trust people either. So let me find my truth in these responses. I rarely feel this way. but it happens occasionally. I sometimes seek reassurance, but feel unsure about trust. Often seek reassurance even when I don't fully trust them. I always crave reassurance despite not trusting others. That's not none of these answers are my truth. So let me try to choose the one that is the closest. I sometimes seek reassurance, which I don't, but feel unsure about trust. I rarely feel this way, but it happens occasionally. I never need reassurance, true, but I fully trust it. I don't fully trust anybody, but unfortunately, that might be like the closest response because I rarely feel this way, but it happens on occasion. No, I don't seek reassurance from people that I don't trust. So, but nor do I fully trust people either. So A and B, ew. I don't fully trust people. Let me just go rarely happens or something. I am a woman. Okay. It says the results. So let's put the name. Let's put Dr. Kesha. And then I'm gonna put D. They want the phone number too. Ciao. All right. This part I'm gonna have to shut it down because y'all too nosy. All right, let's see. Hold on. And then we'll put Dr. Kesha the email and we're going to submit. All right. Okay, so we're done. It says that the results are on their way. They've been sent directly to your inbox of the email address you provided. Get ready to learn more about your attachment style and take the next step towards stronger, healthier connections. All right. So let me try to find the results. Let me see how quickly the results came. Let's see. Hold on, y'all. I'm getting some notes here. Okay. All right. So let me go to Dr. Kesha and see if it came through. Ta-da! Okay, good. All right. So I have the answers. I mean, I have the response. I mean, the answers, the results. It says click for your answers. I accept. Okay. So let me show you the tabs. All right, friends, we're back. Let me just make sure. All right. So this is for the results. Okay, it says results disclaimer. Okay, attachment styles reflect patterns of relationship behaviors and are not a diagnosis. So please remember that number one, no one's being diagnosed at all. All right. Though I am a doctor, I don't have a doctorate in psychology. All right. So this is not a professional assessment that I'm providing you. I'm just taking you on this journey just to see where I'm at when it comes to attachment styles. Okay. So the quiz is for informational purposes only, and it does not replace professional advice, therapy, or medical treatment. The results are designed to increase self-awareness and provide insight into your rational tendencies. Please consult a qualified professional for personalized guidance or concerns. Do you agree with these conditions? I actually like this, and I should start doing this disclaimer every time I do and have conversations with regards to. I do accept it, by the way. To this, almost secure. Okay, so listen, let's walk through it. Hold on a minute. Let me just pause for just a second. Listen, I'm the first person to tell you I don't trust. That's one thing. Honey. I don't trust everybody. I'm not even gonna hold you. So when it comes to trust, I know that's an area I gotta grow. I'm not even gonna hold you. So let's look at the results. Okay, so it's almost secure. So my attachment style is almost secure. Okay, all right, let's go into it. Almost secure attachment means you have many of the qualities of a secure attachment style, but there are moments where self-doubt, and external pressures create hesitation in your relationships. That is true. That is very true. These instances might feel small, but significant, perhaps holding back when you want to share something deeply personal and second guessing the intentions of someone you care about. That is correct. Yeah. These patterns likely stem from past experiences where connection felt mostly safe but wasn't always consistent, leaving small pockets of uncertainty in you that you navigate closely. And from your extensive and ongoing work on transforming a previous insecure attachment style, you value honesty, connection, and emotional intimacy, and these strengths shine in many of your relationships. However, in critical moments like during conflict or when expressing your needs, you might still hesitate, unsure if others will meet you with the same level of openness and care. That is correct. And I want to say, because it has a lot to do, listen, and for me to be almost secure, let me tell you, that is progress. This is my healing journey too. Because remember, I am a survivor of DV, right? I am a survivor of SA. I'm talking about from college. I'm a survivor of these things. So the mere fact that I'm almost secure in my attachment styles, that's absolutely amazing. That means that I've been doing the work. That means that I'm growing and I am evolving as a person. All right. And so I'm going to pat myself in the back. This is amazing. No, I am not 100% there, but I'm at the 85% mark. You know what I'm saying? I'm at the 87. Let me boost it up a little bit. I'm at the 87% mark. I'm proud of myself because I've come a mighty long way, you know, a mighty long way. So I'm proud of myself. So whatever they saying here, okay, go ahead and give me some criticism. I don't mind it. It's constructive. And you're right. I do hesitate because I know what it means to be abused mentally, physically, sexually, right? And so, but if I'm almost secure in my attachment, regardless of what my past, experiences were, that's God for real. All God. All right. So I do hesitate at times. That is correct. But we're working on it. This can lead to a subtle struggles with trusting yourself and others. Yep. Even when the relationship feels stable overall. These moments don't dominate your interactions, but they can hold you back in fully embracing the security you're capable of cultivating. Good news is that you're naturally resilient, self aware, and desire for deeper connections are powerful tools for growth. By leaning into these strengths and addressing the small pockets of hesitation, you can nurture a stronger sense of security in your relationships. This isn't about reinventing yourself. It's about building on the solid foundation you've already have, strengthening your ability to trust and connect, and creating relationships that feel deeply fulfilling and balanced. Awesome sauce. I am almost secure. Won't God do it? I'm telling you, that's a shout moment. That's a moment to rejoice. All right. Number 2, are you ready to become fully secure? Let's see. Becoming more secure is a journey, not a destination. Every step you take brings you closer to deeper connections and greater peace. I have resources available to help you rewrite your story and build the life you deserve. Would you like to learn more about them? Why not? Because again, the whole point of this is for our personal development and growth. So why not learn more about it? Now, whether you continue on or what, but you can move forward knowing, some things have been identified and you can go from there. The hesitancy, I know that is there. I know that is a work in progress for me. And that comes from, again, my backstory. And so that's a continual work in progress. But nevertheless, I know that I will eventually arrive to being fully secure. Okay. So yes, I would like to get help on the journey along secure attachments. Taking back to the side note, I prefer to learn about my own attachment on my own. I'm just kind of curious on what they're going to offer. What have you struggled with most of your relationship? All right, so let's look. My partner withdraws and shuts down during important conversations, emotional distance and lack of connection, trust and intimacy issues. My partner needs excessive space and alone time. Feeling unloved and appreciated, constant conflicts and arguments. Other. What do you struggle most in your relationships? Partners withdrawal, shutdowns during important conversations, emotional distancing, lack of connection, trust and intimacy issues. A partner needs excessive space and alone time, feeling unloved and unappreciated, constant conflicts and arguments. I'm gonna say other. Type in your answer. I'm gonna say just being on the same page. Sometimes we're just not on the same page. It could be the same page with timetable of what type of direction you want to go in with this relationship, how long you want to be, when is it time to evolve in the relationship. When I was younger, it was so much simpler. Most of the guys that came into my life just immediately set the tone for the relationship. I'm looking for a wife. It was very simple. They came in the gate, right, expressing what their desires were, and it was way more easier to get married and to be found and all that jazz. Now at age 50 plus, I find it a little bit more challenging because we have life experience now, right? So now we're dealing with folks that have never been married. And if you're at my age and never been married, then there's a reason for that. And then I meet people that have been divorced like myself or divorced multiple times. So there is a reason for not wanting to jump into something really quickly. There's a reason for that. And so there's these underlying issues, right? Within the dating pool that you have to deal with when you get to a certain age that you didn't have to deal with necessarily when you were a lot younger. So at this age and stage of life, it's just different. Again, that part about not being on the same page. Everybody kind of wants something out of the deal, but they may want one thing and you may want another. And so, and even down, like I said, at the pace of the relationship, some people want something a lot faster and you can't have access to that. We got to cross certain thresholds in order for you to get that, so yeah, that would be my thing. It says, thank you. Is there a partner involved? I have a range of solutions available who are ready to transform their relationships and themselves and others. But first, let me confirm if this is something you wish to work on individually or with a partner. So I'm going to end it here because at this point, that's neither here nor there. But the point is that this is pretty much how it works. Take the assessment so that you can determine, again, based on your responses, what your attachment style is. And obviously, there is a range. Let's look at some attachment styles. Let's see, attachment. Let's look at the attachment style so that we can see what the range is. Just to kind of get a sense of what we're talking about. All right, let's look at some images. I think this might be helpful. All right, let's pick out a fun one. Why not? All right, so let me share this. All right, so let's look at some attachment styles really quickly so that we have a sense of knowing what they are. Now, mine was almost secure. So let's work with the goal in mind and work back. So a secure, and again, they're saying childhood because a lot of these things, it all begins with your parental story. It really begins with your childhood experience. Here it says it's secure, you trust others, healthy view of self, speaks wants and needs easily, can attune to emotions, independent, good self-esteem, not triggered easily. If triggered, can manage an emotional response, okay, appropriately. All right, so that's when you're secure. So I think my area is the trust factor. You know what I mean? Considering what I've been through, it's amazing that I'm almost secure. Let's be real. Let's keep it a buck. So yeah, so that's the goal, is to be secure. Now, the next one that's close to it is anxious and preoccupied. You have insecurity, high anxiety, fear of abandonment, trigger response, fawn, freeze, fear of being alone, chronic survival mode, preoccupied with relationships, codependency. All right. Then you have the dismissive avoidant. Okay. Insecurity, high anxiety, wants intimacy but afraid, triggered response, freeze and flight, chronic survival mode, doesn't trust easily, builds up walls, ultra independent, and can be dismissive. Okay, dismissive, avoidant. Then we have fearful, avoidant, disorganized, insecurity, high anxiety, sometimes wants intimacy, other times they don't want it. Trigger response varies, chronic survival mold, push pull dynamic, confused about love, downplays relationships, trouble feeling emotions. So those are the different attachment styles. All right. And so we're going to be talking more about the attachment styles. We'll talk a little bit more about that. We're going to also talk about mental health, as well as about the avoidance that were mentioned here, in the graph here. The dismissive avoidant, the fearful avoidant, disorganized. We'll talk about those two again. I really do feel that, just like God's word says, my people perish because of a lack of knowledge. We just don't have the information, we don't have the language. So we're experiencing life, right? And or good, bad, or indifferent. We're experiencing life, but we don't completely understand how we're showing up. We don't have language to what it is and to what we feel and how we feel, right? And why we feel what we feel. A lot of us don't know. And I feel like the insight will help people. It'll help you to navigate towards your journey towards healing. It will help to navigate you towards healing on your journey, or it will help to start your journey or restart your journey, reset your journey. But I really do feel with the information, it will be helpful, because what generally happens is we see patterns. We see patterns in our relationships often. And so if you hear the same people saying the same things, then there's a common thread. And then oftentimes people say, well, you see, you more than likely are the common denominator. These are all different folks and different scenarios, different shapes and sizes and shades, different demographics and social economic status, different areas, even zip codes, but yet you're the one that remains the same on and throughout this relationship. And somehow or another, the relationship is coming to kind of an expected end, a predicted end, because of how you're showing up. And I'm not saying the other people don't play a part or they don't trigger any of those things, because I really do feel like that they do. I feel like that a certain attachment style will attract certain attachment styles, if you will. You know what I mean? And so it can be a self-fulfilled prophecy, if you will, if it's not addressed, especially if you are speaking negative terms with regards to relationships or how you interact in relationships. I'm gonna be sure to double check just to make sure to check my spelling. Child, yeah. All right, we got it. So listen, this pretty much concludes the broadcast. I appreciate you for joining me. Please be sure to, especially if you're enjoying the content, if you want to see more of it, make sure that you like the video, make sure that you subscribe and comment and share. Okay. Make sure that you especially make a comment. Did you find yourself in any of those questions? Would you have answered it the same? I'm just kind of curious. Are you interested in taking the assessment or taking the questionnaire so that you can see where you are in terms of your chat or your attachment style? I would encourage it. It's absolutely free 99, free 99. So why not? Why not? Why not see where you are in and on this healing journey? Why not? Why not? I think that you would do only benefit. You would only benefit and do only good by bringing this up. And also, if you happen to need coaching, if you happen to need counseling, reach out. Reach out. I'll do an assessment, and I'm the type of person where if it's something that's beyond my education, beyond my experience, and I can refer you to others. But you'd be surprised. A lot of people have been blessed by the coaching slash counseling that we do. It's from a Christian perspective, and everything that we do. It's from a biblical perspective as well. So it's just good to understand the mind and also understand the spirit, as well as our emotional state, and how God has a hand in everything. You know, when you have that understanding, a complete understanding, a full circle understanding, a holistic understanding, then you'll find healing being accelerated even the more. I find people that are so immersed in psychology that they rule out God, or they don't include him in the process, just have a longer journey versus people that include God in their healing journey and their healing process. They have a more of an accelerated journey, because not only are they doing their work, but they're also yielding and submitting and allowing God to do the work that he can only do. Amen and amen. That's it. All right. So much love to you. Thank you. Thank you so much again for all the love, all the likes, those that have prescribed, those that have subscribed to the channel. Thank you so much for building up our numbers. We still need more, to become monetized. Like I said, as far as the video, we get the numbers, but we just don't have enough people subscribe to the channel. So we need to increase the numbers of subscriptions so that we can become monetized. That will help out in everything that we do. Of course, it will help out in everything that we do. So please consider, especially if you want to see more content like this and other content. We have, look, the gamut. We talk about the culture. We talk about music. We talk about God, of course. We talk about coaching. We talk about relationships. We talk about the gamut pretty much. All right. So if you're interested in our conversation and our presence on the tube, feel free to subscribe to the channel. All right. So God bless. Until next time, you all take care. And